We have a great surprise. We have a musical performance for all of you beautiful people. This is my great friend Artos. I met him at one of the networking events that I'm privileged to attend and meet some beautiful people. It's great to know that people are artists in many ways. They're professionals. They like creative expression, and I really appreciate it. And people who live life to the fullest. And you would express your life multiple ways. And we have Robbie here with us, who's assisting us with production. I'm very grateful for him to be here. Thank you so much, brother. And let's hear a little bit of the music, Artos. Well, what do you have for us? Any introduction? Wow, that was amazing. Come on, let's go, everybody. Let's go. Thank you so much. That was special. I love music, live music. I went to symphony when I was in Miami several times. I got tickets for free from my church. Can you imagine, Artus? There was a symphony, Miami Beach Symphony, a beautiful facility, beautiful musicians, and I had some even extra tickets. I invited some of my friends that I met there too. So this is what happens when God blesses me with things and opportunities. I go out of my way to make sure that I can pass on the blessing, and it's really good to have multiple opportunities from God, to have people in your life who would maybe assist you or bless you, and you're able to pass it on. Again, we're here with Alberta Republic hat. Alberta Republic, I believe, is the only way for us to move forward in the country that's formerly known as Canada, and there's no other way but move forward in separation. Hence, I'm wearing a t-shirt that I made before I left Canada, and it says "Make Canada Free Again." When I made this t-shirt, I thought we still have an opportunity to make Canada free again, and I did my absolute best. I sacrificed everything and anything that I could, and we definitely saved some people. Some people came up to me and they thanked me for the work that I was doing. That happened, a lot of that happened in Tribal Convoy. I don't know if you guys know here, but we had a 3 weeks blockade of capital of Canada with massive trucks. And in fact, there was literally a court hearing 2 days ago. Artos, can you imagine? This one guy, who definitely was one of the organizers for this convoy in Ottawa, that happened in January, February of 22, so 4 years ago. And they arrested him. They arrested him on February 18th. They gave him some BS charges for some mischief, whatever. They hold him in custody in the prison, actually, for like half a year, as they were trying to charge him with whatever. And they basically build up all this case, saying that he was intimidating and doing whatever else. There was no violence, nothing like that, but they held the guy for like half a year in jail. And then finally the judge ruled that he was dismissed on intimidation charges. They found him guilty on whatever mischief. I think he made a deal of some kind. But long story short, he got released last year. Can you imagine? The guy got released last year. He served probation as well. And then now the prosecutor is appealing that decision so they can give him 5 years in jail on top. Like, this happening literally right now. And this guy's like I didn't, like, why are you guys doing this against me? And he already suffered. So I think I personally want to do what I can to support people that are still in that country, and they are doing what they can, they think. But I want to make a claim. I want to make a statement that I'm the real organizer for Trucker Convoy in Ottawa. I'm the one that the Canadian government, been trying to put in jail, but I don't think they anticipated enough the impact that I was creating while I was in Ottawa, before Ottawa. No one else, I repeat, no one else in Canada chartered tour buses. I was the only one. I chartered tour buses to bring more people to Ottawa. Nobody was doing it. And even after they used the force on us, the army, right, to disperse the protesters, and they did that for 2 days straight on February 18th and February 19th. Artus, can you close that window, do you mind? Just put it up. Yeah, right there on the side. Yeah, perfect. Just all the way up. Perfect. Thank you. So the day after, I organized a protest on the border of this red zone that the Canadian government created, fictitious red zone, saying that inside of the red zone, which was basically around the parliament, we Canadians would be arrested by having a Canadian flag. Can you imagine? That was the instruction of the police. And I know that because they literally came to me as I was organizing this protest on the border. And they come to me as like, you know, if you cross the intersection, we're gonna arrest you. And I'm like, yeah, I know, that's why I'm gonna stay on this side. Because in your, you know, in your, what do you call that, wonderland of some kind, you think that on this side of the street I have some rights, and on that side of the street I don't have any rights. So it's okay, we're gonna stay on this side and we're gonna organize a protest. You know what else I did? I paid for the porta potties, you know, the toilets that you put outside so people can use them. So I ordered them. I paid the money that we got for selling the t-shirts and the hoodies and the hats, because that's how I funded the whole operation. Do you know that the Canadian government tried to frame me for being funded by the Russians? That happened in 2020. Yeah, the CSIS, which is the Canadian Central Intelligence Service of Canada, whatever. They tried to build a case against me. They were interviewing some of my friends, saying that if they knew that I was getting funded by the Russians. So they tried to do the same with Jordan Peterson. You know, Jordan Peterson, they tried to put him that he's also getting funded by the Russians. So the Canadian government is nuts, but that's why I left, and I'm not going back. And again, I'm 100% claiming to be the main organizer for Freedom Convoy in Ottawa. However, I was very strategic not to be at the front line. However, I was still bringing food. I was overseeing the whole blockade from the airplanes that we had access to. So I was literally flying on top of the whole blockade in Ottawa on Saturday, on the biggest day. I chose not to go on stage because, you know, even though I was at the front line, I also didn't want to be the main guy, because I know the main guy will get the most pressure on. So I had Chris Sky, who was the main front guy, and Chris Sky got arrested 28 different times for organizing protests or, you know, disobeying the mandates, whatever, and I got arrested 0. The only time that Canadian government was successful arresting me is because they propped up case against me for criminal harassment against the mother of my son. They claimed that my Facebook posts on my platform about my own child is equivalent to me harassing the mother and her new husband. So they literally prompted this BS case against me. And, you know, yeah, like I literally went to jail for demanding to be a father to my own son in Canada. Like that happened in August of 22. But I shouldn't be surprised, because even 3 years before, in the fall, I think it was, or summer of 2019, in British Columbia, which is the Western province, Artos, they put a father in jail because he refused to call his daughter a son. Because his teenager daughter was brainwashed to start transitioning, and the father refused to go along with that, you know, criminal activity, in my personal opinion, his personal opinion. So they put him in jail in 2019. So the conversation that we're going to be having today is something that's current in my life. If you're just tuning in or you're watching this episode, the idea for the show Movie Life with Coach Vlad is to be a few different things. One of them to be like a, you know, journaling, like a chronicles, diary of my personal life and different things that's happening. And at the same time, showcasing living your life like in a movie, where you can make your own script, you can play the main character, and at the same time, you can direct and you can really take charge of your life. So it's like literally directing your own life, directing your movie life, and using movies as a metaphor. A lot of times I watched a lot of movies growing up, and I'm going to be discussing some of them, how they influenced me. Even today, I reshared on social media this one clip from the Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger. That movie came out in like 1986, I believe. I was like 6, 7 years old when I saw it. I was like 8 or 9, but still like a child. Can you imagine watching Commando and Arnold, and he's basically running out of this water, like all buffed, and he has this boat, rubber boat, that he basically got to this island to save his daughter. So like I watched that countless times. I literally don't remember how many times I watched that movie. And at the same time, I'm living that movie to a certain extent now, right? Where I'm trying to rescue my own children, and I'm up against this crazy force, and technically I shouldn't be winning. However, I'm just keep going, and that's the important point, is that you have to keep going. So on the conversation of North America and being a father and being a parent, in North America, we had Mother's Day last Sunday. So in North America last Sunday, I think it's the second Sunday of May, is basically the Mother's Day in Canada, in United States and Mexico. I don't know if in other places too, but I think there's other countries that they have Mother's Day on a different day, right? In Poland too. When is it in Poland? You don't have?
Yes, but it's a different day.
It's a different day, exactly. In Poland, it's a different day. So in North America and many other places, last Sunday was a Mother's Day. And myself, I have my own mother. Obviously, I'm here because of the mother, right? And I'm here because of the father too, because you need both to make a baby, right? Women definitely forget the part that you need the father, and the father is also a part of the child, and the child is also part of the father. Because for some reason, fathers have no rights, and more importantly, children have no rights to the fathers. And it's very sad. It's very sad. I think women being led astray. I think women being conditioned to behave this way. Women are very susceptible. It was written in multiple books. One of the famous books in 1984 with George Orwell. He specifically discussed that women are the easier target for the government to manipulate and control. So that's why the propaganda is geared towards women. Women also big consumers, right? So, and that's what the powers above want. They want the consumer society. So we see that happening. And yeah, like Mother's Day, it's a very commercial holiday. I would say it's probably one of the biggest holidays in North America, the Mother's Day. In Russian-speaking countries, the second biggest day is International Women's Day, and that happens on March 8th, which also passed, about a month and a half ago. So, but on a conversation of the mothers, I watch a lot of content because, first of all, I want to understand the dynamic of my own mother, who definitely emasculated my own father to the point where he left her. And also she decided to punish him and her own children, that is me and my younger brother, that she told my mother did, that since he's leaving, he's not allowed to come back, see his children and parent his children. And he listened to her because she was a judge in Soviet Union. She was a judge in Soviet Union in the caliber of, she was the one that was signing the death warrant for, the execution orders for the people to that level. So I'm just trying to put myself in my father's shoe, right? if the woman who I have 2 children with, who's a judge, who signs a death order to the people, and she tells me to do something or not to do something, the likelihood of a man listening to someone like that is pretty high. And I also reflected that, she's my mother, and obviously I don't listen to her, because which son listens to his own mother? It usually doesn't happen, right? But it's on purpose, it's for a reason, right? It's just how life is. Like, you're supposed to, challenge the authority of your parents and find some ground within that experience. So, but at the same time, of course, I want to call out behaviors that are wrong, because that's what we're here. We're here for the truth. I think, again, one of the greatest movies, A Few Good Men, and one of the most famous phrases from that movie, if you want the truth, you cannot handle the truth. So I believe that there are men and women out there who can handle the truth, and that is my opportunity to share the truth for those men and women to hear it. Okay, so on the conversation of the Mother's Day, I personally believe that, and not just me, there are countless people. There's a big movement right now on really exposing how horrific the manipulation and indoctrination of women has been in the last probably 20, 30, if not more years, but let's say even talk about last 30 years, because that's more or less my time within North America and my adult life that I can base my experiences on, and also working as a coach with multiple men and women primarily, actually. So the point that I'm making is we're definitely witnessing the unfortunate decrease in, we can call it quality of women. We can call it quality of women because that's what it is. Like, if we have men and women who are being raised to behave a certain way that's not just going against people in their surrounding environments, but even against themselves. And even something like this, what I'm going to be saying right now, was controversial a lot more even 3 years ago. And I think that in the last 2-3 years, we're definitely seeing changes. We're seeing women who are definitely aware of their own limitations, and they're also not afraid to discuss women's limitations, women's nature, etc. And the Mother's Day is a very unique opportunity, because I do believe that mother's responsibility is to raise the children and generation. However, if the women are not raised to be the wives and the mothers, they're not able to do that job, unfortunately. And it's not even me saying, it's the women saying themselves. Like, I go to this, we have a really cool event every Friday here in Warsaw. It's English debates, and every week it's a different topic. Every week is a different topic. Last week, Friday, we had a topic of if we should normalize women not having children. That was the topic last week on Friday. And I got there late, so I only caught the last few speakers, either for or against the proposition. I missed all the discussions within the group. And I obviously wanted to speak. Luckily, there was some time. There was a little commotion. Maybe I'll mention it too a little bit. It's important. But the main thing that really struck me the most is that the woman that was making an argument for that proposition, so she was agreeing that we should normalize women not having children, her argument for that statement was that she believes, and she even asked the audience, if all women will be good mothers. So this lady is asking the audience, of maybe like 25 people, if they think that all women can be good mothers. And people, of course, said no. And she's like, well, you see, well, not all women can be good mothers, so we should normalize women not being mothers. And I'm like, no. We got to make women great again. If you already agree that we have a big challenge now, and in some circles they call it hoflation. In some circles they say hoflation is much worse than taxation. We are witnessing the fallout of the mothers of previous generations, unfortunately, because the women that are behaving the way they are behaving right now, they've been raised by women who basically taught them what they know, either through directly teaching them certain things, or just by their own behavior. Because as we know, most children, they are raised based on observation of their parents and their caretakers, not necessarily of things that are being told to them, because children are very intuitive. They can pick up the BS very quickly. So it's not just what you tell the children, it's how you choose to live your life. And that's why what we even discussed last week and continue going forward, healthy, active lifestyle is essential. Again, not just for yourself, of course it is, but for the people who look up to you. And if you are a parent, a father or the mother, or your grandparent, aunt, etc., doesn't matter. But if you have an influence on the younger generation, I believe it's your personal responsibility to take your health seriously, because you have someone who's going to be mimicking your behavior, and they're looking up to you, of course, to manage your behavior. And this is also, again, on a conversation of why fathers are essential. Because between the mother and the father is the one who's a disciplinary. Father is the one who creates systems, structures, and boundaries. It's not the woman's nature in general to do it. Like if she has to, she might will, might not, whatever. But the point is, it's the father. And isn't that interesting that we have generation that's been raised exclusively by women, with almost zero interaction with men, and unfortunately, we're witnessing the society collapse. And I personally believe that that is one of the main reasons, because we have fatherless children. So the importance of Mother's Day, I think, is fine. It is what it is. But also the Father's Day is not even acknowledged to the same extent or degree. I think, again, in North America, in the United States, Mother's Day, I believe, is in the top 3 holidays, along with Christmas, of course, New Year's to a certain extent, and Valentine's Day. So it's like in that circle of top 5 holidays for sure. And Father's Day is like 20 something. I think Halloween even gets more attention than Father's Day. And then that's really not just sad. I think that's wrong. I really believe that's wrong. If you think that the most important person for the child is a father, because he's the one who's supposed to be providing, protecting, and raising the child by the father's behavior, and children don't experience that, this is not just the limitation, this is just straight out robbery of the children's lives and potential opportunities that now have been taken away from them. So the Mother's Day is very interesting for me personally to experience, because I have a challenging situation with my own mother. And then I guess, as I mentioned earlier, you have to be careful what you say, because you literally speak things into existence. And I did, because I made a covenant with myself when I was like 20 in Toronto, after about a year when I got there. And I remember I was standing in my apartment looking in the window, and I was thinking about that. If I ever would be in a situation where the mother of my children, similar to my father and mother situation, would tell me that I'm not able to come back and be with my children, I would never stop fighting for them. So I created that situation, not just once, but twice, with the first baby mama, Adele Tevlin, and my son, who just turned 10 last month. And, it's a very long and interesting story, and I shared some, and I'll be sharing some more later, and more things will be unraveling, and I'm just doing my best navigating this life. And then you have a second situation. The second situation is really, it puzzled me, and I'm still having, a relatively difficult time with that, because like this woman was with me when I was experiencing and suffering with separation of my son. And she even told me that I should stop doing video calls with him, because she saw how disastrous it was for me, like how traumatizing it was for me, and it was extremely challenging. But then she had no issues attempting to create the same life for me with my 2 daughters. So it's very sad to see that the women do that to their own children. And to me, this is the greatest and saddest example of selfishness. That the reason why these women do this to their own children is because they are so selfish. And that is why we have to make mothers selfless again. Like that is the campaign that has to be launched, it has to be implemented, it has to be created. Make mothers selfless again. All right? It's something that we have to absolutely keep doing, because it's imperative. Like if we're not able to raise the next generation of women to be selfless mothers, I think society is finished. We are definitely on this edge, I believe, and that's maybe just because of something that, I want to be an optimist to a certain extent, as I often now use this quote from Bernard Shaw, that he says, in the world, you need the optimist and you need the pessimist, because the optimist creates the airplane and the pessimist creates the parachute. So the challenge is to be both to the best of your abilities, and that's what I'm personally practicing, and I'm advising for you to do the same. So the situation that we're facing is dire. Like I personally believe some countries are doomed completely, in terms of collapse of population, of childbirth and population as a result of that. And before coming to Poland, you know, it was a strategic place to come here because I believe at least Poland has a chance of surviving because you have a hardworking people, you have a dedicated people, you have very proud people. The national pride is also strong, which is imperative. If you want any nation to survive, and you think by taking away and diminishing the nation pride, you will be successful, you're delusional. Like, I don't think of any nation that's able to survive if you take away national pride. So, you know, nationalism is essential for the survival of a nation. And good mothers, selfless mothers, are essential for the survival of a nation. Now, how are we going to make mothers great again? So, of course, now, well, women great again and mothers selfless again. Those are the two different slogans. We have to make women great again, and I think that is possible. It's going to take time. And we have to make mothers selfless again. So that's essential of what we're going to be focusing on. And incorporating women that understand the dynamic is crucial, and we are building that framework. And at the same time, I believe fathers will be playing a key role. Fathers will be playing a key role in the transformation as well, because in order for the women to learn how to treat a man, interaction with a father, that's how it happens. This is why I was only able to recognize even myself not so long ago how imperative and essential, really. Like, I made this initiative, Fathers Are Essential, over 4 years ago, I guess almost now, right? And at the same time, I don't think I was present to how essential father it is to a girl, to a daughter, because that's something that you cannot replace. Like that presence, you either have it or you don't. For a boy, it's important too. However, the things of how to be a man, a boy can learn from movies like I have personally, like literally. I've been fatherless since I was 11, and a lot of things that I learned from the movies. I learned from the movies how to shave. I remember I was saying that quite often. But for a girl cannot learn presence of a good man around her. She can't learn that from something else. She either has it or she does not. And this is why we're facing this very sad world right now, where we have fatherless children, and especially girls, and they are extremely vulnerable to being abused, to being manipulated, to be trafficked, to be used in prostitution circles, etc. And then, again, this is where I believe a lot of wars are happening to continue flooding the human trafficking markets, unfortunately, with these innocent children whose fathers being, killed on whatever side of the war you want to talk about today. So we have to really realize that families are the fundamental principles of successful society, and the families include the father, the mother, and the children. So it's been very interesting to observe the people in Poland. Some of them understand what's taking place, some of them not sure, and it's just like everywhere else. However, I do believe here in Poland we have a lot more opportunities to get the message across and for people to receive that message, and that's really what's important. For people to be receiving this message. Artus, you want to play something else for us? You want to play one more thing for us? We're gonna do a little musical intermission again, using an amazing opportunity having Artus here with us, and I'm gonna be talking about a couple other things. This is amazing, I love it. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you very much. Beautiful. Is there any name for that?
That's from Bach.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Collegium.
From Bach. So, I received this card today here. It's my first plastic card from Poland. I'm grateful for this country already. The process is slow, but it's moving forward. And again, I'm grateful to be here. This ID, this document does not entitle to cross the border. So this is why I'm staying in Poland. I'm going through the process of getting my status here, and this is one of the steps. So I'm grateful to receive this today on the day of recording of this podcast, and which is May 13th, right? May 13th, very good. And this ID, even though it's only for 6 months, and I'll have to get request a new one every 6 months, which is fine. It's not an issue. Excuse me, but this ID has been issued on the 30th of April, which is my son's birthday. So I'll take it as a good sign that God is planting all the seeds and all these crumbs on my life to kind of validate that I'm on the right path, I'm doing the right thing. And with God, all things are great. So I just want to say thank you to God for bringing me to Poland and putting me on this path of opportunities that presenting. So I'm grateful about that. The thing that I also wanted to mention is the agenda. What we discussed last week, and we continue moving forward, the Agenda 2030. A lot of people are concerned about Agenda 2030, what's going to happen with Agenda 2030, how can we stop Agenda 2030. I already mentioned that nobody will be able to stop Agenda 2030. However, what you can do is you can take personal charge and responsibility for your life, and you can create your own Agenda 2030. Now, I'm personally creating Agenda 2030 with Coach Vlad. Main focus for us is health as wealth. And we have 48 months, almost now. May is continuing, but we're going to do it till May 2nd of 2030, which will give us 48 months almost at this point, so 4 years. Why May 2nd? Because May 2nd was the first rally that I went to. I became an activist on May 2nd, going to my first protest 6 years ago in Toronto. And I incorporated my health coaching and my team building experience and marketing and branding, all those things. I funneled it all into the activism activity, and I was extremely successful to the point where the Canadian government decided to investigate me as a extremist terrorist, etc. So, but what I was doing very strategic. I was organizing people across the country. I was providing education and support to the businesses and churches across the country. And I was preparing the people for the convoy that took place. And even before that, I organized several business protests with standoff with police. Literally did that across the country. So when we were at the time of convoy, everything was planned, everything was great, everything was moving forward. So I didn't need to be quote unquote the official organizer. There were people at the front doing things, but I was definitely involved. I was definitely organizing things. I was definitely providing the supplies and support, and I was doing my own thing along the way of the main organizers, the main frontline organizers. So again, this podcast here is definitely to claim 100% responsibility for Trucker Convoy. I am the guy to blame for all of that. Leave these people alone who still live in the country and trying to make their own life, like Pat King, and we have Helen Gruss, we have detective. Listen to this, Artus. We have this detective lady from Ottawa, from the capital of Canada, that was investigating deaths of newborns. So newborns were dying and she was concerned. So she decided to investigate correlations between vaccination and the deaths of those children. And instead of the Ottawa police allowing her to do the investigation, they decided to prosecute her for asking questions. So this lady's been put through the ringer now for the last several years. And then she still has like a sentencing tribunal that they're trying to penalize her for just investigating, for doing her job, for asking questions, not allowed. And we have this other older gentleman. I think he's in his 70s, I believe, definitely late 60s, maybe 70s. His name is Randy Hillier. He was a provincial politician, so like just in the region of Canada. Ontario is the biggest province, so he was a politician for the province of Ontario, one of many. And he was one of the first outspoken ones in the beginning of the lockdowns. And they charged him with multiple things, and he went through the court, obviously cost so much money, so much stress. His son was harassed in the process. Anyway, long story short. And then he was found not guilty, like this other previous guy too. Or at least the charges been dismissed or whatever. Like, and now they want to charge him again. They want to, I guess, redo his case. So even the people that went for the ringer and they already been either found not guilty or charges been partially dismissed and they served some time, whatever, the Canadian government doesn't want to give up. They want to continue to prosecute these people, but not all of them too. There's one guy who actually was responsible for sabotaging my initial movement, Hugs and Masks, and then assisting the kidnapping of my daughters. His case, for some reason, is okay. His case, Colin McDonald's case, is not the one that the Crown prosecutor wants to recharge him with, or get different conviction and sentencing for him. So that's very suspicious. And then his case, it was circulating a lot on the social media over the last couple of days, even though it's like from almost 2 years ago. So for me, it's very suspicious, one of those things that took place this week as well. So in summary, first of all, we are here to keep the show going, Movie Life with Coach Vlad, where I'm very grateful for my friend to come in and play a little bit of piano for us. That's the idea for the show, that we're going to have some musical performance, we're going to have some stand-up comedians, some maybe magic tricks. I think we have some magicians and magic tricks opportunities coming up as well. So that's the idea. The idea is to create educational, informational, and entertaining show, and also stimulate thinking. Stimulate a little bit of the ideas, discussions. I really believe in the power of conversation, and not necessarily that you have to agree with everyone. However, you have to respect people, and dialogue is essential for people to discover the truth. And that's what my intention as well is with this show, to help people stay creative in their own life, be inspired and empowered by other people's examples as well, because I believe that we can help other people shine through our own light. We're not going to lose light. It's like a candle. When a candle lights another candle, it doesn't loses its light. It's just able to pass the light. And that's who I am choosing to be, regardless of circumstances. As I mentioned last week, Artus, you might want to like this too. Like the saying goes that for a good man, he has to be a provider. And I said last week that it's, when you have resources, pretty much any man will be a good provider. The trick is, and the opportunity is to create resources when you have none. Become resourceful. And keep moving forward regardless of fails and bumps along the way and whatever things, but maybe use them as leverage too. I really like the word leverage. I was watching a little bit of the Tony Robbins with Alex Hormozi interview. They did it about 3 months ago. I'm actually going to post this in a comment so people can watch it. It's been watched by like over 2 million people in the last 3 months. It's really good because Alex Hormozi, by the way, I'm kind of starting to look like him. He's a guy with like a very bushy beard, long hair, but he's like one of the most successful entrepreneurs in the last 10 years. Like the guy is just like an animal with business. And he's married to this beautiful Persian girl as well. So it's an interesting duo they have. She's really sweet. She's really nice to him too, which I pray to God one day to be blessed as well with a woman like that, who's actually good to you. Can you imagine if women actually would be trained and raised to be good to their husband, to the father of their children, instead of being, a B word and contentious wife, right? And as the Bible says, it's better to live on the corner of the roof when contentious wife, right? So, but yeah, so Alex Hormozi did an interview with Tony Robbins, where basically Tony Robbins gave him like a private coaching session about his mental state and his successes and his view on life. So, but yeah, like I was watching it, and they were discussing today about they discussed many things, but one of them was, when you really understand what's important in your life, and you focus on that, you almost like demeanor will change, and that's where you can figure out if what you're doing is right for you or not. It's all about your state. Tony Robbins talks a lot about state. So yeah, I mean, I was gonna use the board just to write on it, just as a practice, but it's okay. We're not gonna use the board today. It's just a prop in case we need it or not. And I'm kind of feeling like we had some musical performance today, which was amazing. So maybe we'll go away from the board for the day. But yeah, no, it's great to have an opportunity to have a discussion with my producer. I can't believe I have a producer. So exciting. So the show is coming forward, guys. Like, whether you like it or not, we're pushing it forward. We're building it up one brick at a time. It all becomes a journey, a genesis story of what we are here to create. Regardless of anything, I definitely want to wish a great Mother's Day to all mothers. I believe mothers are amazing, mothers are important, mothers are essential, of course. However, selfless mothers, okay? Like, it's just reality, Selfish women are so bitter, they're so dangerous to themselves, to their loved ones, because we get too emotional, and problems happen usually, right? So we will be making Women Great Again as a campaign. I believe that it will be great because it will make people think, it will make people forced to react. However, it will help people to regain this concept that's very alien to a lot of women. It's called accountability. So with the slogan, Make Women Great Again, we already making a statement that there's definitely room for improvement at the very minimum. And also, we're making a statement that we want to go back to the way things were when things were good. Because a lot of people's like, oh, I don't want to go back, I don't want to go back. And I mean, obviously we can't really go back, but we have some fundamental principles that showed us how things were functioning well. We had a lot of children, the families were intact, the divorce rate was low, and we can definitely use this as an example. Will it be exactly like that? I don't think so. Honestly, I don't think it will be exactly the same it was like in the 50s. And at the same time, we can use it as a measuring stick to our behavior, to the way we raise the children. It's very obvious that boys are taught how to treat women, and girls are not taught how to treat men. And if you're not, if you're not learning this behavior, or you're not being taught this behavior by your caretakers, there's no surprise how things are right now in society. So, being the father of 2 daughters, I take personal responsibility to create a system, a platform, an opportunity for the girls that want to get that education, that learning experience, and that support. There was this guy who I'm going to talk about next show. I'm going to do a little bit preparation with Robbie. We'll do a little bit of the slides for you guys to showcase. But there was this one guy that specifically dedicated his life to get women out of brothels. I think it was like in ancient Rome. So he was literally committed to get women to a better life. And I thought about it that I have experience working with women for the last 26 years as a coach. A lot of it being a health coach. I also have experience working with women, helping them to start their businesses as their own health coaches. So I had a team of men and women that I was helping them to get going in health coaching business. And I really like that. So my focus now is to go into that, to really look for young women that want to learn how to be successful in their personal life. So they would be independent enough not to rely on OnlyFans or whatever, but still instill into them the idea that it's not about independent from the man. It's independent enough that you can be grown-up adult and self-sufficient. However, if the challenge that we're facing, that we have women empowerment, to basically empower women to be completely independent away from men. And this is where I think we have a challenge. So I'm going to be focusing on that dynamic, focusing on creating seminars and education materials to support this agenda. As you guys already know, patriarchy is the only future, because we've been conditioned, myself included, future is female, and unfortunately it created only disasters for us. So patriarchy is the only future. That is the truth, okay, not my truth, comes from God. And there are already enough women that understand the dynamic and the importance of that. And my focus, like I've been doing with Hagzel Masks in the past and health coaching in general before and now, is to bring like-minded people together, help people find each other. So few good women can find each other and work together and support. And we obviously can bring men into the circle who want to be part of this project too. But I'll be focusing on women because at the end of the day, men can definitely help influence women dynamic. But to be really successful, I think women involvement will be more essential and more successful, because more women will be open to listen to other women. That's just how things are. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. Men should listen to men, women should listen to women. However, if women choose to have somebody as a mentor, as a person of authority who they respect, and I think that's a great dynamic as well. So, I looked at Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Poor Dad. He has several mentees that he has. I think a lot of them are women too. And this is also a great example of someone who's mature, who's successful in a good marriage. So this is not some funny business that a lot of people get themselves into, but it's really someone genuinely who wants to coach. Grant Cardone is another great man, very happily married, father of 2 daughters, and his wife is amazing too, very supportive. His wife is great, really. Like there are great examples of women, wives and mothers with these very successful men. Tony Robbins, again, one of them. He was married actually, I think 3 times. His current wife, his last wife, who he's been married for the longest time, definitely is a blessing to him. He said that even on that podcast. So, but even him, like the number 1 coach in the world, failed several times before he became successful. So I'm gonna put myself in the same category, going for the Alex Hermoso look, because there's this concept from NLP. Do you know NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming? NLP is a really cool concept, a cool technique that you can learn how you can interact with people and how you can be within the communication. So in NLP, there's some exercises, and there's also a concept called mirroring, where you basically mirror somebody's behavior, but not just behavior, like their whole appearance, the look. And it's almost like you're taking on the persona of that person. So, intentionally and unintentionally, but definitely now that I'm even more thinking about it and looking at Alex Hermoso, I'm definitely going for Alex Hermoso look. Because like I said, he has a bushy beard, he has long hair, and he wears a tank top and shorts. And he's like really buffed. Like I'm not even as buffed. Definitely, I haven't been trained for the last 3 days. And like it's funny, man. Like I lose right away when I don't train every day. Like it comes off very quickly. So I gotta train every day. So, which again, I love it. It's just it's a scheduling thing too. So I'm not perfect too. A health coach that wants to make Poland healthy also has been missing last 3 days of exercise. I did a little bit. I don't really count. Like I want to have like at least an hour session. But I cycle everywhere. So not really. Like I cycle minimum 20 kilometers a day. Like 20. If I do 20K a day, it's an easy day for me. Today I did already, and I still have to get home from here. Today I think I already did like 20. I did more than 20 today actually. I know for a fact I did more than 20. So, in any case, to summarize, May 13th, we discussed Mother's Day. We discussed the initiative of Make Women Great Again, Make Mothers selfless again. We discussed me getting the plastic ID in Poland, which is an amazing thing that happened, and it was issued on my son's birthday, April 30th of this year, of course, which is also just gonna show it like that. I don't want to see anyone copy any details from that, so I'm just gonna show it like that quickly, okay? So. So yeah, it's all these little signs that I know are not coincidences. They are by design. God has a plan, and me being in action and motion, I give God opportunity to bless me multiple different ways. have different interactions. Even today, some interactions maybe what not necessarily pleasant, but I allow things to happen. I really like this concept of when you walk the beach that has stones, not sandy beach, but stone beach. All the stones are very soft and like very smooth and whatever. And people usually think it's because of the water. However, it's because of the other stones. Because when the stones rub each other, that's how they become so smooth. So it's this quote unquote tension that we're creating with other people that helping us to be shaped as well. So some things will be uncomfortable for sure, but at the same time, like I said, it's if you go with open heart and you allow God to come in the middle, I think that's what helps situations sometimes maybe to be not fully charged. So it's good to have sometimes, frictions, because within friction, you're allowing the shaping of yourself and maybe the other person too. So let things be to a certain extent, still stand your ground as well. It's very important for all the things to come together one way or the other. God wins all this, remember that too. Very important. I had some conversations earlier this week with the factory that's going to be making the new t-shirts for us, the hats. So stay tuned, we're going to have hats, t-shirts, tank top shorts for the workout season outside. The fit camp is every Saturday morning at Shishlevitsky Park, right on a hill on a Gorka. So I can't wait for everybody to come in every Saturday and get healthy and fit together. And many other things are launching as well, guys. So we're looking forward for your participation. The Agenda 2030 with Coach Vlad, Health is Wealth, make Poland healthy, and for everyone to benefit in the process, to have a prosperous and adventurous lives as well. I think that's really, really what we need to do. We need to make things really happen. So if I can ask Artus one more time to play maybe something for us to finish us off, this will be amazing. To close off, and I'm just gonna say goodbye to everyone. We'll finish with a musical performance for everyone, and we'll see you next week. God bless you all. Amazing.
Thank you very much.
Woohoo! All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you all. See you next week.